A lot of landlords don't want to work with quote unquote small property management businesses simply because they have these biases that I want to actually talk about today. So there are a lot of property owners out there that are chasing these big name property managers, hoping for the best. But here is why small firms might actually be a better option for you. A lot of landlords think that bigger is better for their rental properties. But then they sign up with a huge firm and they don't get the experience they expected. Their calls, for example, get lost, issues get dragged on, and they are stuck within a system that doesn't work for them. It's not personalized for them simply because they are just a number in the system. They are just one landlord out of the 700 units that this huge company is managing. So obviously, they're not going to have that attention to detail that you might need, especially if you are just starting out as a landlord. If you are a landlord starting out, you need someone to hold your hand, to guide you through the entire process, to show you how the system works. Someone that is going to be personalized to your property and can ably be there maybe once, 2 times a week to check on it and then update you and then share with you reports on time, have this constant communication with you so that you are always in the loop and you learn how the business works. But trust me that you're not going to get that sort of personalized service when you're working with a big property management firm, simply because they already have 200 other landlords that they are working with. And what do? They have a system that they have optimized to serve as many landlords in as short a period of time as possible. So just picture this. They are a big management firm and you can't blame them. They are a big management firm. They have 200 landlords. And what do they need to do? They need to make financials for each landlord every month. They need to make reports. They need to take care of all the small repairs that are happening across the 700 properties that they have. They need to do a lot. So you're asking them to take more time or spend more time on your property. One may call for more expenses on their side, and trust me, they're going to pass those expenses down to you. And that is why I want to make this argument that for landlords that want that personalized experience, you should aim for these medium to small size management companies that have that time but also have the capacity to deliver that for you. So they have the right systems, they have the people in place, they have the human capital, and they are local to where your properties are. So do not go for a small farm. For example, if your property is located in Nansana, don't go for a small farm in the Entebbe. No, get something that is near, maybe in Namungo na Kasobi, somewhere whereby they can have a personnel to your property within 10 minutes if there is an emergency from their head office or from wherever they are, I should say, situated. So that is what I want to discuss today. The advantages of actually leaving the big brand, big name property managers and going for the small, modest performing property management companies that are actually out there in the market. Because I see a lot of my colleagues and companies that are struggling simply because this landlord is chasing the big name and they forget that what they need at the end of the day is the service to actually optimize their portfolio and then increase profitability, because that is what the landlord or the property manager is going to give you. They are going to take stress off your plate, they are going to give you more time, and they're going to make your property more profitable. They're going to collect rents on time. So if that is what you want, then why are you going for the big name? Just go for the person that is able to deliver that. Choose service over size. So you find that the best option here is usually to switch to a small property management firm, and everything is going to change for you. The manager that you have knows your properties inside and out. They respond faster to you because they don't have so many things going on, and they tailor their service to your goals. So here is the argument for why you should maybe consider getting a small to medium-sized company to actually come and work for you. Number one is the personalized attention. You're going to get a dedicated property manager who gets your needs, who is going to sit down for you and, for example, find out how do you want to be contacted. Do you not want to be called for these small ticket items, or what is your threshold for what you're willing for the property manager to do without consulting you? Because that is all going to be done in the onboarding process. They're going to come and say, okay, what is your lease? What does your lease look like? What are your payment structures like? When would you like to receive rent? Although we pay on this day. So they're going to personalize their system that they already have. They're not changing a lot. They're just personalizing it so that it fits your goals. So for example, if you want to reinvest all the money that you're getting from one rental into the construction of another property. So in other words, you want all this money to be coming from the rent account and going straight into the construction account to fund that money. They're able to set that system up for you, and it's simple on their side. It's just a matter of changing which account the money goes into. So they're able to tailor their services to what your needs are. And that is something that you don't get with property managers that are huge, simply because they have so much that is going on in their accounts department. There are 1, 2, 3 people managing 700 properties, and trust me, they do not have time to be very specific on this one thing that you want to always appear in your, I should say, financial reports when it is not an SOP, when it is not part of their system. It is going to be very hard for them to actually turn that and then make it available for you, especially if you are a small landlord. So compared to them having 200 landlords and you're just one landlord, maybe not. But if you are maybe 50% of their portfolio, maybe they might be more inclined to do that. But if you have just 10 units out of the 700, trust me that you're not going to get that personalized attention that these small and medium-sized firms are going to give you. The next one is going to be flexibility. So they're going to be able to offer you custom plans for your properties, not this whole one-size-fits-all like I've just tried to explain. So flexibility in that they're able to, for example, deploy someone to come and work on your property when something is wrong, just because they already have the maintenance staff and they're not overwhelmed by having to go to 700 properties out of your 10 that may need to have something. So there is flexibility in the schedules. Maybe once in a while they're able to actually visit your property more. If you call them and say, I'm going to be at the property on Saturday, I would like to meet with one of your teammates, they're going to be more inclined. Their schedule is flexible enough to say, landlord X needs to meet us on this day at the property. Let's assign this person Y to go and meet them. But for a big property, they're going to have all their people very busy and very occupied, in that you may not even have someone that is able to meet you. For example, if you want to meet every month at the end of the month to go through your financial statements, they are more flexible to assign someone or their finance to sit down for an hour or two to go through your financials with you, explain what is going on, budget for the next year, for the next quarter, and then show you where all this money is going, so that you have that sort of transparency that you need as a landlord, because it's important for you when you have handed over your property to someone else to make sure that they are reporting to you and telling you where everything is going, not just telling you the final figure is 100 million, we spent 20 million, here's your 80 million. Where does the 20 million go? Can I get more money, or have they actually saved me more money? So that is the transparency and the flexibility you get from small and medium-sized companies that you may not necessarily get from big-sized companies. All right, the third point here is speed. So small property management companies compared to the huge ones are going to have less red tape, which means faster fixes. I'll give you an example. Let's say a plumber needs to go to your site to work on the tank. One of the tanks is leaking and it's losing water. The speed at which you are able to fix that might actually save you, let's say, an amount of, let's say, like 200k on the bill, which of course the tenant is going to refute and is going to say this is a landlord expense, and that is going to come out of your own pocket to fix that. But if the property manager is able to quickly get someone out there to fix that, they're able to reduce the damage. So that, let's say if it costs this plumber 50k to go and save you 200k, you see where the benefit comes from in that example. So I'll give you the same example, but in the, I should say, the side of a big property management firm and what is likely to happen. Your property is going to have a property manager or a facilities coordinator or someone that is in charge of it or is direct contact for you. So when something like that happens, let's say at 1 a.m., you notify them, then they have to, for example, notify their in charge, and the in charge requisitions for that money from finance, and then they approve, and then it comes down the organizational chart again, so that you call the plumber to go there, and then you maybe even have to negotiate, so there is a back and forth, and it's just because there are so many people that you have to report to in that huge thing, and then you find that it takes more time for this person to come and repair that, and by the end of it all, you've lost 200k worth of water that you need to pay to national water without the expense of having the vendor actually come. So at the end of it all, you end up spending 250k instead of 50k. And that's how these small inefficiencies with speed can actually save you a lot of money when you're working with a small company. Because let's say you have a company whereby the property manager only reports to the MD or to the finance, and then everything is just back and forth, and the issue is able to be resolved faster than in a case where there is so many people they need to report to, a portfolio manager, things like that. It just makes the whole process a lot more clunky and it reduces speed. So when you have these small and medium-sized companies, they don't have as many people to report to. That means issues get sorted faster, especially if they are proactive. Now, there is a case whereby the property management company is not good at being proactive. That is a problem on them. But if you get a good property manager, then trust me, this is going to be one of the advantages you get from having a small-sized company compared to a big-sized company. The next one is affordable expertise. So these small-sized and medium-sized companies are going to offer you competitive rates that are going to boost your returns simply because they are trying to get your business. For a big firm that has 700 properties, they're not really optimizing for fees or giving very many discounts, unless, like I've said, you have a huge portfolio, 500 properties, they're able to give you a discount. But if you have 10, they're going to give you, our rate is 12%, non-negotiable. But with a small company, you're able to negotiate a few things here, a few concessions, and you're able to save more for yourself. And actually, like I've always said, when a property manager comes in, they save you more money than you actually pay them. So at the end of it all, it's a win-win for you. And you don't need to go through this whole thing whereby you can't even negotiate on a simple percentage. So that is one other advantage that small property management companies offer you. Another one is real relationships. You will notice that in a big company, yes, you're going to have a contact person, but a lot of the time they keep changing these people simply because they are either trying to promote someone, they are either trying to train another one. They have their own internal system, but the rate of churn is bigger in a bigger property management company, or is more in a bigger property management company than it is in a small management company. So with the side of a small management company, they usually have a small number of staff that is going to stay there for a longer time, or even when they change, the changes are not so frequent. So you build this real relationship with this contact person, the property manager, or even with the MD themselves, because at that point, you can actually have direct contact with the MD or with the head of finance or with the head of property management, other than in a big company whereby you need to go through people to reach that person. So you're going to have this sort of person that is going to offer you consistent communication with someone who is going to stick around longer and who is going to understand you better, who has your contact, knows your email, and can easily send you things, not having to call you to ask you what is your email. No, all this is going to be better for you when you have a small management firm. So the whole essence of this video is to explain that some of us want to choose size over service, but like we have explained here, size isn't always better. Make sure that you're choosing service over size for happier investment. And maybe that means that you have to do more due diligence on the company that you are hiring to make sure that they are proactive, that they are licensed, and they are knowledgeable enough. They have the expertise to be able to handle your small portfolio, however small it is. Even 30 properties could be a small portfolio for a property management firm that has 700 units. And actually, for a small property owner that is in a big property management firm, you're going to agree with everything that I've said. A lot of the time it is clunky for you, and the experience is not what you expected, because these guys are optimizing for their big landlords, and they sometimes, not intentionally, ignore the small ones. But you are also important as a landlord, and if you want that personalized service, if you want the speed, if you want the affordable expertise, make sure that you're going for these medium to small companies. You are then vetting them and making sure that you partner with someone that is going to give you the level of service that you want and expect. And if they don't, please just move on to the next one. Find the next until you find a good property manager. Use references. Ask landlords who have good property managers, who would they recommend. When they give you that recommendation, sit down with that person, give them the facts of your property, make sure that they give you a plan on what they are going to do. Make sure that plan is realistic, because that is going to show you what they are going to actually be able to accomplish when they are at your property. If you see that their plan is shaky and it has holes, then you know this person might not be right for my property. But all that is going to help you in this whole process of picking out the right property manager. So especially if you are starting out and you need someone to hold you, I would say go for a small to medium-sized company. Going for a big company is not really going to give you that point of touch that you need. So I hope that you learned a lot from this video, that I managed to hit on the few and most important points that would convince you to actually shift your perspective on ignoring these small companies, like a lot of people call them small companies, and shift your perspective into actually working and getting a partner to help you in your real estate investing career. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, comment, please share it with someone else, another landlord that might be struggling or might be in the same situation. As always, this has been your Throat Insights tip. I'm Raymond from Throat Services Limited, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.